Hey, I'm Paul Byram, and I'll be teaching you how to solve quadratic equations by graphing. Okay, so to start off, the standard form of a quadratic equation is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now in solving, we're going to make the equation equal to 0. So since the original equation equaled y and we replaced it with 0, we can say that y is equal to 0. So if we were to graph this quadratic equation, we'd be looking for the points where y is equal to 0. So these are the places where y crosses the x-axis, such as if I draw a line right here, that would be this point and this point. Now these are known as the x-intercepts, and they also have other names such as roots, and they can also be called zeros or solutions. Now these all mean the same thing, they're all referring to the x-intercept. Okay, so for our first example, we're going to solve the quadratic equation x squared plus 6x plus 10 is equal to 0. So, in this case, a is equal to 1, b is 6, and c is 10, as you can see in the equation. So the first thing we're going to do is find the vertex, and the formula to find the vertex is x equals negative b over 2a. So in this case, b is 6, so we're going to plug that in. X equals negative 6 over 2 times a equals 1, so that's 2 times 1, and that equals out to be negative 3, so x equals negative 3. Okay, so now that we found our vertex, we can go ahead and make a t-chart. So we're going to put negative 3 right in the middle, so we have room for 5 points, and we're going to go ahead and count up, negative 2, negative 1, and then count down, negative 4, and negative 5. So that's 5 points. Now we're going to plug negative 3 into the original equation and find y. So the original equation was x squared plus 6x plus 10 equals 0. So we're just going to plug negative 3 in, so it'll be negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 10. And that would be 9 minus 18 plus 10, which equals 1. And so now we're just going to put a 1 in for the y right here. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did for the negative 3 and plug in negative 2. So that would be negative 2 squared plus 6 times negative 2 plus 10, which is 4 minus 12 plus 10 equals 0, which is equal to 2. So we're going to put 2 here. And since we got 2 for the negative 2, there's a symmetry type of thing. So we also get 2 for negative 4 because it's 1 away from negative 3, just how the negative 2 is. So now we can do the same thing one last time and plug in the negative 1 to the equation. So that'll be negative 1 squared plus 6 times negative 1 plus 10 equals 0. So negative 1 squared is just 1 minus 6 plus 10. So that's 1 minus 6 is negative 5 plus 10 is just 5. So we're going to get 5 for the y-intercept from negative 1, and we're going to put 5 for the negative 5 also. Now that we have found all our points, we can go ahead and start graphing. So we'll start with the vertex, negative 3, 1. So I'll go back 3, up 1, and right about there will be our vertex. Now we can keep going with negative 2, 2. So negative 2, up 2, and then the opposite of that, negative 4, up 2. So there are those 2 points. And then negative 5, 5. So it'll be negative 5. That'll be up here. And then negative 1, 5. Now I can go ahead and draw this line. And there's our parabola. Now our solutions are the points that pass through the x-intercept. And now, as you can see in this case, the line does not go through the x-intercept, which is right here. So, since it doesn't pass through, there's no solution. And that would be our answer, no solution. And there's the answer to number 1. There you go, no solution. Alright, so this next one I want you guys to try. It's negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. Now remember the vertex formula. It's x equals negative b over 2a. Now I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to work this out while you listen to some calming elevator music. Alright, now let's work through this together. Just like our last problem, we're going to plug in our vertex formula to find the vertex. So that'll be x equals negative b, and b is 4 in this case, so it'll be negative 4 over 2a, and a is negative 2, so it'll be 2 times negative 2. That equals out to be negative 4 over negative 4, which is just 1. So now if we make our t-chart again, let's put 1 in the middle, just like how we did last time, because it's the vertex. Then I'll count up right here, and then count down, so that's 0 and negative 1. Now it's time to find the y values again. So we're going to start with the vertex, which is 1. So we're just going to plug it into the original equation once again. So that'll be negative 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 plus 4 equals 0. So this is just negative 2 plus 4 again, and 4 plus 4 is 8, minus 2 is just 6. So that means we'll put 6, and that'll be the y value for the x value of 1. And now we're going to plug in the 0. So that'll be negative 2 times 0 squared plus 4 times 0 plus 4. So 2 times 0 squared, that just cancels out. So does 4 times 0, so you're left with just 4. Positive 4, so you're going to put that for the y value here. And you know if you get 4 for the 0, you're also going to get 4 for the 2. Now the last x value we're going to have to plug in, I'm going to choose negative 1. So we're going to plug that in, negative 2 times negative 1 squared plus 4 times negative 1 plus 4. So negative 1 squared is just 1. And you multiply that by negative 2, so that's just negative 2 minus 4 plus 4 again. And then so these 4's cancel out, and you're left with just negative 2. So you're going to put negative 2 for the y value here, and that way you know it's also negative 2 for the 3. Alright, it's graphing time. Yay. So let's plot our points. So let's start with the vertex over 1 up 6. So over 1 and then up 6 to the very top here. So there's our first point. Let's plot the second one, over 2 up 4. Here's over 2, here's 4. I'll plot that one. And I'll do over 0 and then up 4 again. So that'll be right here. And then negative 1, negative 2, so negative 1 down 2. And then over 3 down 2, so it'll be right here. I'm just going to connect the dots and draw my parabola. Okay, there we go. And here's our angle of symmetry. Okay, so basically, as you can see, the parabola is upside down this time. That's because a is negative. Whenever the a is negative, it's always going to be upside down. And now it's time to find our x-intercepts, or our solutions, whatever you want to call it. So that would be right here and right here. Now, as you can tell, they don't perfectly land on a number on the line, so we're going to have to estimate. So right here, this is 1 right here, negative 1. So it looks almost about to negative 1. So I'm going to say x So roughly equal to negative 0.9 on this one. And then right here, that looks about a little bit more than halfway to 3. So I'll say x is roughly equal to 3.6. And those are our two solutions.